Hey everybody, it's Patty Dobrovolsky with Up Your Creative Genius and the Creative Genius U series. This week is episode 7, Open Your Imagination by Reprogramming Your Brain. That's awesome. And what are we going to use to do that? That fantastic I of the Creative Genius U equation. I, imagination. Now your imagination is totally engaged with resolving and initiating any kind of activity. And Alex Schlegel, who's this cognitive neuroscientist, he talked about how you initiate and resolve using your imagination in what he terms the mental workspace. So the mental workspace is this neural network that you've got going that is working all around your brain, using and storing symbols and images and ideas and theories to help you problem solve. And that kind of problem solving and resolving, problem solve and then resolve, is part of how your imagination comes up with greater and better ideas. So how does it do that? So let's take an example. Let's say you want to go on a tropical vacation. Now, you don't have money sitting around to go on that vacation right now. So you've got a couple of options. One is you could run your credit cards up and just charge it all, knowing that you'll be able to come up with that money somehow to pay it down later. Or you can save for it and start to put some money into a bank account. But how do you do that in such a way that you trigger some new and interesting ideas? Because I don't know about you, but saving gets a bad rap with some of us. And so, not me, I like to save, but not everybody does, and not everybody's good at it, especially right now during this time where money is tight. So, here's an example of what you can do. First, we're going to activate that mental workspace by coming up with as many ideas as we possibly can. So put your critic at bay, grab some multicolored Postit Notes, and as quickly as you can, come up with as many ideas as you possibly can for how to save money. Write each one on a Postit Note, draw some bad pictures, and then just put them all somewhere where you can see them. So here, I've got don't buy at the drive-through, don't get coffee at the drive-through, so you save that money, and open a savings account, start to curtail your just automatic activation of Amazon Prime, so that you really think about, do I really need that? And you can come up with a whole bunch of different ideas for selling products or saving money or bartering with friends, so that you keep putting money in that savings account. That's the goal. The goal in this activity of the mental workspace is to get as many things as you can. So once you have them, what's awesome about the imagination is it loves to see things in a visual framework. It loves them. It looks at all of that data and it starts to mix and match to come up with the best solutions, which is so super cool. Now, the imagination part of it, meaning the brainstorming part of it, it's important to have, full liberation there, because you could say to yourself, yeah, but that's only $4. How's that going to get me to a vacation at a 5-star hotel, right? So the critic is in there active all the time. And when you think about that, that's like the black hat, red hat. Not red hat, but black hat, green hat. The green hat is all systems go. Every idea is great. And it's a yes and experience. Like, oh yeah, I could stop doing that. Yes, that's a great idea. And then I could maybe write a few blog posts, charge money. Yes, that's a fantastic idea. I could try offering something new and different. Yes, that's a fantastic idea. Black hat is like, well, let's see, how are we going to do that? It starts to critically analyze stuff in the prefrontal cortex to try to mix and match things together to come up with the best possible solution. And when you're in those two states, they don't work together simultaneously. So you can't be criticizing yourself at the same time you're coming up with ideas, which is why great writers, still many of them write with pen and paper. Why? Because the pen and paper keeps them in the flow. They're not going back and course correcting, auto correcting, trying to analyze what they've written as they're typing it on the keyboard. You want to keep yourself in that flow of ideas, because that's when the creative genius you starts to play. It loves the free flow of imagination. So you got to give it free rein. Let it go crazy on itself, okay? And then our perception of ourselves is influenced by our imagination as well. Now, how does that work? I was thinking about this. Perception creates reality. But perception, we're multi-sensory people. So things that we hear actually influence what we see. And things that we see influence what we actually hear. So in this way, we're impacting ourselves all the time with data and stimulus. And Christopher Bergen did a really good, that's his name, Berger, did a really great study on multisensory perception. So you should check that out if you're interested in that, because I thought that was totally groovy. Now, so when we imagine ourselves experiencing or becoming something new, that impacts what we actually do experience in the future. We know this to be true from the Draw Your Future process and all the testing that we've done about that. That when you draw a picture of what you believe you'll be, that you actually activate that RAS system in a way that it starts to pull to you images of things and solutions of how you can actually close the gap between where you are and where you want to be. There's another way that you can keep your imagination open to new ideas and new ways of thinking, and that's by asking better questions. Now, in Jim Quick's book, Limitless, he talks a lot about the RAS system, the reticular activating system, which is kind of the gatekeeper. Normally, we have 11 million bits of data that comes in every second of every day. And the RAS system is the one that's weeding out all of the stuff that's just typical and things we already know, and it's calling out the things that are interesting and new. And that's what we're looking at, is activating. How can we activate the RAS system? And one thing to know about the RAS system is that it sometimes is influenced by our dominant question. So what's a dominant question? A dominant question is a question that you formed early on as a child based on your experience. So here's an example. When I was young, I was the smallest, scrawniest kid in my neighborhood, and there were like probably 20 kids in the neighborhood, the block where I lived. So when it came time to play baseball on the street corner, I was the last to be chosen. And so I would do anything possible to get extra attention, to call attention to myself. It was crazy. And I knew also at this time that I was different, meaning that when I had to wear a dress all the time, I would come home at age 3, 4, and 5, and I would run through the door and scream, "Where are my real clothes? I want to wear my real clothes." And I would race to my room and throw on my jeans and t-shirt, and then I was myself. And so my dominant question from my childhood was, how can I be myself? Where can I bring more of myself? And this played out in so many different ways in my life as it progressed. As an actor, I wrote scripts and performed characters that were all about being yourself or bringing yourself or finding yourself. As a corporate trainer, I would go into these change trainings, training people all around the world, and my real signature piece was I was funny and I was totally myself. I would sometimes in the middle of the training lay down on the floor and just break through what people believed a trainer should be, so that I would demonstrate, it's important to be yourself in corporate America or business world, wherever you were in the world. And so this dominant question played out through many careers. And then, I don't know, sometime in my 40s, I evolved the question to be more about how can I help people step into the life that they long for or the life they dream about? Meaning, how can you be yourself and learn that you deserve to live the world that you long for, to live in it and to create it? And how can I help you make that change more quickly? So this This dominant question of how can I help people step into the world they long to live in, that has really played out in so many ways with pictures and images and webinars and just helping people to really come to grips of you deserve that life. Now, I'm curious what your dominant question is and how you've evolved it from your childhood. So your mission this week, should you choose to accept it, is to identify, think of your childhood, and think of what your dominant question has been. And then, how have you evolved it, or how is that dominant question playing out? And then if you would, post it in the Facebook group or send me a note about it, #dominant question. I'd love to hear it. I can't wait to see what you tell me. This is going to be awesome. Uncovering the questions behind the question and using your imagination to reprogram your brain. Let's do this. I can't wait. Until next time, up your creative genius.